Double British Touring Car champion James Thompson is on pole position in the Seat, having snatched the place from Tom Chilton's Vauxhall in the closing moments of qualifying. Series leader Matt Neal is third, just ahead of major rival Jason Plato. Both have won races here in the past. Gordon Shedden is fifth in the second Team Halford's car, his time matched to the thousandth of a second by Fabrizio Giovanardi in the Astra. Thruxton Race 3 winner Colin Turkington lines up 7th for Team RAC, while Mike Jordan's hoping for better luck than last time from 8th on the grid. Rob Collard is 9th in the second MG, ahead of Gavin Smith, who maintains his succession of top 10 starts. Dave Pinkney lines up 11th, Harrogate's James Kay is 12th in the Synchro Motorsport Civic. Jason Hughes has the Kart World MG in 13th place, ahead of newcomer Owen Murray in the Team Quest Alfa Romeo. Mark Proctor returns to the scene of a heavy shunt 12 months ago, and Fiona Leggett is back to the circuit where she made her BTCC debut. Another newcomer is the first ever Turk to race in BTCC, Erkut Kizilyamak, or simply Erkut to us, in a fourth 888 Vauxhall. Adam Jones has the Zero Competition Lexus in 18th position, and the final row sees Martin Bell and Mark Smith in BMW and Alfa respectively. Last couple of cars moving into place, and I think we're pretty much set to go. James Thompson and Tom Chilton, the front row. The second row, watch out for series leader Matt Neal in the Team Halford's car. Red lights come on, and away we go. James Thompson gets a good getaway in the Seat. Nice and smooth getaway. Mike Jordan a bit slow away, and he's going to come under pressure from Gavin Smith behind him. Down towards the first corner, it gets very, very tight into here. Thompson takes the lead, Chilton in second place, Matt Neal holding on to third. So far so good, watch in the middle. Oh, there's a big sideways. Smith and Jordan, I think, had a bit of a coming together, and there's another bash as they go through the corner. Turkington following him through sunny in and sunny out.
Well, Giovanardi was very brave on the brakes there. I almost thought he was going to overshoot Sunny in. He went in very deep, and because you're braking on the bend and the car's unloaded, you get that little kiss of the rear inside wheel locking up. But he was very deep and committed on that first lap. But look, now we're closing up on the infield section, and the balance and power changes. Oh, there's a move up the inside, Plato on the inside of Neal.
Yeah, Jason Plato, and Matt Neal ends up on the grass. How often do we see that around the hairpin? We are on board with Matt Neal, and he's lost 2-3 places there. His teammate Gordon Shedden has his bumper trailing as well, so there's been other contact, and look, Turkington's coming through as well. But here comes Neal, back at him. Oh, are they going to both make it? Somebody's in the gravel. Somebody went straight through the gravel there.
Well, it's all kicked off at the end of lap one, hasn't it? And of course it was Plato and Neal who had a big incident here last year, clashing going through the fast chicane. That one there. But any move at the hairpin that puts the car out on the grass, this is a replay. Giovanardi getting a tap and going through the gravel, has to go the wrong side of the marker post there and cuts back just in front.
That was Plato. The onboard was with Plato, so the contact was with Jason, and Giovanardi came through the gravel, as you say, came back on again. This was the view from on board Giovanardi's car, and that's how he did it, straight back on. Shedden is going to be shown the black and orange flag, Tim.
Well, that's unusual. Normally we're used to sort of touring cars driving around with bits of plastic flailing around and not getting black flag, but obviously the technical people feel that is too much of a risk, and certainly as a driver, if you're following a car with that amount of damage to it. Oh, and that's Mark Smith off.
Yeah, Mark Smith.
That looks like the exit of the chicane. He spun round to the left, I think. Yes.
So Smith in the Alfa Romeo, very much a privateer, and he's done a lot of damage to that car, as you can see. Presumably we may see the safety car come. Oh, he's got the car. He's got the engine still running. He's going to try and pull away, even though he's hit the barrier pretty hard. Thompson still our race leader. There he is, James Thompson, with a 2.2 second advantage. He'll be very aware to see whether the safety car will be coming out to erode that advantage. But at the moment, no sign of it coming out on circuit. Black and orange flag, though, is being given. There it is, to Gordon Shedden. It means he has to come into the pits and attend to the damage to his car. And here we've got a little chance for Matt Neal. He gets alongside Collard. They're side by side through Tower Corner. It's clean so far. They're still side by side. Now into the Jim Clark S's. The inside line is still held by Collard. Matt Neal's done enough, I think. No, they're still side by side. Fantastic racing. And Collard's wide, and Matt Neal goes wide as well. Did Collard survive that, or is he in the tyres? I think he got away with it. My goodness, it's quick through that section, Tim.
Well, I mean, neither man was going to give an inch there. I mean, you couldn't get two harder drivers than Matt Neal and Rob Collard. And through that section, 125 miles an hour to go side by side. I thought Matt Neal was brave to turn into the left with the car on the inside, but Rob Collard was even braver to turn to the right with Matt Neal inside him.
Now, I think something's happened ahead of them. Plato has got ahead of Giovanardi. Giovanardi, I think, went wide out of Sonny, and Giovanardi actually is going to lose a place there, I think, as they come out. Is he? No. Looking, oh, it wasn't, it was Chilton. It was Chilton that made the mistake. Look, Giovanardi's up to second. Chilton, with the white windscreen strip on the Vauxhall, has lost several places. There's Chilton, and now he's under pressure from both the Team RAC cars.
Yeah, what a shame for Chilton. He was doing so well. He's lost all those places in one go. It looks like he's got a problem because he's going very slowly.
Now, let's see if we can find out what happened here.
Yeah, he's pulled out of the way there. He's pulled out of the way to let Giovanardi through. So Chilton's running with a problem because that was him running offline, clearly.
Yeah, so Tom Chilton in trouble of some sort. So Giovanardi now in second position, Plato up to third. Let's take another look. This was that battle between Neal and Collard. And look at that. How did those two get away with it?
Well, that was hugely dangerous and very exciting to watch, but full marks to both of them for controlling it.
Now, battle for second place between Fabrizio Giovanardi, who's on for his best result in the British Touring Car Championship in his debut year, and he's run wide. Giovanardi's run wide, and Jason Plato's straight through.
Well, there we are. He's been on the limit since lap one into that very corner, Sonny in, and just caught him out there. Just with the tyre deterioration, he just couldn't quite brake as late as he had been earlier and stop the car, and it just dragged him in. You have to brake slightly earlier as the race goes on to make up for the loss in adhesion that you've got from worn tyres, and it just caught him out. Plato needed no second opportunity to move through, but still a great performance by the Vauxhall. Giovanardi's defending a little, he's defending a lot, and Matt Neal isn't that close. So Giovanardi over, and Matt's looking, he's looking. I knew it would be here. Oh, that's close.
That was predictable, wasn't it? Big sideways moment, well gathered by Fabrizio Giovanardi. Holds him, and here comes Matt Neal trying to go back to the outside. This was where he had that. Oh, and look, Collard's time back past. Contact between the two of them. Matt Neal, oh, this could be big. He's on the grass now, still over 100 miles an hour, probably down a gear or two, and Matt Neal gets back on, and now it's Turkington in trouble. Turkington who got sideways. My goodness.
Well, these two, they weren't happy with it first time round. They had to have another go at it. That was caused by Matt Neal's attempt to pass Giovanardi, making him slow out of tower, and well held that first one. That is 125 miles an hour. Turkington goes off to avoid them and ends up on the grass on the outside trying to slow it down. This is on board with Turkington. Watch Collard, he takes the racing line, Matt Neal clips him, Turkington has to dive on the outside. Now as Turkington goes around, he gets on the grass and nearly loses it.
So Giovanardi again under pressure as they come up towards the hairpin. Everybody looking for a little bit of space. And look, again, Matt Neal's got back past Collard. Matt Neal took advantage there, and he's nipped past Collard.
Oh, look at that. Neal's able to just use a grip to drive up the inside of him round Hawthorns and in the lead now, in the lead of that group. He's now in third place. We predicted he could get back there, or even after that first lap kerfuffle, and predictably he's worked his way back, but certainly not without incident this time. And now Turkington's going through, so clearly Giovanardi's now got a problem.
It'll be a perfect result in the manufacturer's points, so with a 1-2. Thompson moves out of the way. Jason Plato comes through. It will be a Seat 1-2 here at Croft, but it's going to be Plato taking maximum points, and that will allow him to close up a little bit more on championship leader Matt Neal. But Matt Neal has survived a fraught and fiercely fought contest to finish in third place, so he won't lose that many points. Out they come, out of the final corner, the hairpin. It's Jason Plato to lead home a 1-2 for Seat after a beautiful race from James Thompson. He settles for second place. Third goes to Matt Neal. Fourth, I think, is going to go to Colin Turkington, and behind him Collard got past Giovanardi on that last lap, so Collard takes fifth and Giovanardi finishes sixth. So it's a 1-2 for Seat, Jason Plato being gifted the win by his teammate James Thompson, but Matt Neal in a strong third place, still scoring points. Colin Turkington finished in fourth place ahead of Rob Collard. Fabrizio Giovanardi looked so good in the early stages, finished in sixth ahead of Dave Pinkney. James Kay, behind them in ninth place was Gavin Smith, and 10th place Owen Murray. second race of the day coming up. Seat looking to repeat their 1-2 victory from the first race. Vauxhall did it last year with a couple of 1-2 finishes, and now Seat are trying to do it themselves here today. Jason Plato leads them away then on the green flag lap, with James Thompson going with him, and this is how they line up then. It's Plato and Thompson on the front row of the grid together, now carrying ballast. Matt Neal, championship leader, he starts third, as he did in the first race. Colin Turkington is fourth, he still lies second in the points. Rob Collard is fifth, and Giovanardi for Vauxhall lines up in sixth position. Seventh on the grid then is Dave Pinkney, had a good run first race. James Kay is eighth. Gavin Smith and Mike Jordan had a bit of a coming together in that first race, so that's left a bit of work to be done. Smith in ninth, just in between them is Owen Murray, then it's Mike Jordan and Gordon Shedden, who had to make that pit stop for damage to his car. He starts in 12th place. Adam Jones in the zero competition Lexus starts 13th, ahead of Jason Hughes 14th. Then it's Erkut in the fourth of the Works Vauxhalls here this weekend, the Turkish driver making his debut. 16th Martin Bell, then it's Mark Smith and Mark Proctor in his Fastech Civic. At the back though, we've got Tom Chilton to watch out for, because he had that suspension problem in the first race. He starts 19th. Fiona Leggett starting from the back in 20th position. It's the second touring car race of the day, all set to go here at Croft. And let's see whether we're going to get a good, clean start from the two Seats on the front row. It's Jason Plato and James Thompson who will lead them away, but Matt Neal sitting there in a threatening third place. Watch out for him at the start of this one. Watch for the lights to go out. We're racing, and Thompson and Plato carrying more ballast now, trying to get off the line. They both have made pretty good starts there. Jason Hughes also made a good start further down the order, but it's Plato who leads. Matt Neal trying to take second from Thompson, and Matt Neal has slotted into second place. Turkington almost getting past Thompson as well, but he's had a little bit of contact there. I think Thompson just had a little tap on the rear quarter from Turkington. Both of them sorted it out very effectively, but Erkut, the Turkish driver, in trouble, and obviously not making it through the first corner without a problem. You're still on board with third place man there, James Thompson. Thompson locking the brakes a little bit, closing right in to Matt Neal and off. Giovanardi and Collard. Giovanardi maybe with a bit of a push from Collard. It was difficult to say exactly what happened on the way into the corner, but the two of them ending off at the outside, and that was the battle for fifth place.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Collard tried to get up the inside of Giovanardi coming into the sunny in, and it's a really difficult braking area there, because the driver who's being overtaken is so busy looking at the road, he almost can't really see the other car coming, and so slightest little contact is going to cause a problem.
So across the line the leaders come. Let's see if we can spot what happened here. Looking from Giovanardi's car, the leaders were ahead, and there's a contact there.
Yeah, and another contact there. Yeah, I think Collard was trying to get down the inside. Giovanardi was probably watching the road, and we saw how deep and committed Giovanardi was into that corner, so it was a pretty brave shout by Collard to try and get down the inside anyway, but it certainly punted him off. Oh, he's got it restarted now.
Look at these two for the lead though, because Matt Neal's made a bit of a break from James Thompson, so at least he can now concentrate on getting past Plato. You're looking back from Plato now, race leader, at Matt Neal's car, and because Matt doesn't have to defend so much, he can go on the attack here, perhaps into the hairpin, has a little look down the inside. That's where Plato went past him earlier, but he can't quite do it.
Yeah, he showed his nose, didn't he? But Matt normally, if he does that, is very decisive, but we only saw the rear view there. Didn't really see how close he was or whether there was contact, but the car looks okay. But I think that Matt fancies his chances to get past. He doesn't really need to for the points particularly, and he's not under pressure from behind, but I think he would like to try and put one over on Plato.
Yes, it would be satisfying. Battle for ninth place here. Owen Murray in the Alfa Romeo, Mike Jordan in the John Guest Eurotech car there, and he's side by side coming into the first corner, but he better watch out because that's Tom Chilton right behind, and Chilton's got the inside on Mike Jordan, and he nips past, and he took advantage there of the dice that was going on between Murray and Jordan, and Chilton played that very cleverly. Chilton's just gained that other place from Owen Murray, so Tom Chilton in the Vauxhall has gained another position, and that puts him up into 9th place now, so could be in a good position on the reverse grid. He may need to just pick off a couple more, and that could put him near the front for the reverse grid race later on. Turkington tucked in behind Thompson. Thompson got into a bit of a slide, and that's allowed Shedden to close right up. Now we really have got a battle going on here. Thompson just emerges out of tower ahead of Turkington, but where is Shedden? Shedden's still around somewhere. I think he's had to tuck in behind Turkington. Oh, and there was a bit of a slide there from Thompson.
There was, and a little lift from Turkington, so Shedden's going to be very close behind. There he is, but nobody brave enough to risk it down the inside there. But these three have really got together now.
Little think about it, little think about it. Contact. Oh, he's through. He's through without any contact as far as I could see. Matt Neal, what a pass for the lead. Matt Neal takes the lead from Jason Plato, and behind Thompson is still trying to fend off the third from Colin Turkington and Gordon Shedden. Well, he caught me out. I think he caught Jason Plato out as well.
Yeah, that was a great move, wasn't it? He managed to lull Jason into that sense of security by not attacking there for a few laps. Plato's trying back, but this is the strong section. Watch how quick Matt is through this chicane and carrying good speed onto the back straight. Look how quick they is there. That's where the car's very strong. If he can get down to tower without Jason attacking him, then he'll be okay. Look at that last minute dive up the inside. It looked like there's just maybe a fraction contact there because Jason's a fraction wide, but a real good pass. Thomas run wide, Turkington's got through, and so has Shedden.
Thompson on the final lap, he has made that little mistake. It's allowed Turkington to go through. Matt Neal surely is going to hold on to this. He's got enough of a gap over Jason Plato. Into the final corner he comes now, the hairpin. Plato too far back to launch anything from there. But third place is going to be Colin Turkington. After all that, James Thompson loses out on the last lap. Matt Neal takes victory. Plato takes second position. Third goes to Turkington. And fourth position, let's just see who's here. Oh, it's tight across the line. Thompson there and Gavin Smith absolutely together as they cross the line. And I think Thompson just got it, yeah. So confirmation of that finish then. Matt Neal the winner by just under a second from Plato. Turkington finished in third place. Gordon Shedden was fourth ahead of James Thompson. Smith in sixth place. James Kay seventh. Then Tom Chilton, Dave Pinkney and Mike Jordan rounding out the top 10. Thanks, Vicky. So let's take a look at the grid lineup then. It's Gavin Smith for Vauxhall on pole position and James Thompson alongside. On the second row of the grid, Gordon Shedden in the Team Halford's car. Colin Turkington right there with him too. Needs to score some points. Jason Plato's on the third row of the grid and Matt Neal. These two have had a big rivalry already today. Let's see what that happens this time. James Kay and Tom Chilton on the fourth row of the grid, and Chilton made up a lot of places in that previous race. David Pinkney and Mike Jordan have identical cars in different liveries on row 5. On row 6 it's Owen Murray in the Alfa Romeo and Jason Hughes in the Cartworld Racing MG. The seventh row of the grid sees Adam Jones in the Lexus versus Mark Proctor in the Honda Civic. Then it's Martin Bell and Fiona Leggett together on the eighth row of the grid. Row number 9, and we've got Mark Smith versus Erikut, our Turkish friend, into touring cars for the first time this weekend. And then Rob Collard right towards the back, I'm afraid, on row number 10 with Fabrizio Giovanardi. They came together in race 2. Let's hope they keep it clean this time. We're nearly set to go. The car's just coming around at the end of their green flag lap. They'll line up on the grid and then we'll get 15 racing laps underway here at Croft in these sweltering conditions. Engine temperatures have been climbing throughout the day. Gordon Shedden has had an engine change. The engine actually failed on him as he came into the pits after that second race finish. So the mechanics working flat out in the pits in this sweltering heat to get his engine changed. Of course, they had to change an engine on Matt Neal's car earlier too.
Yeah, that's what we call perfect timing, when it fails just across the line. As Colin Chapman used to say, build them strong enough just to finish the race.
Well, Gordon Shedden did finish the race, and he starts in third place on the grid for this one, but it's Gavin Smith for Vauxhall who starts from pole position. Remember, the top 6 cars from that second race in reversed order, so that gives Gavin the chance to go for it from pole. But James Thompson in the Seat could be his biggest threat, starting on the outside of the front row. And watch out also for the continued battle between Jason Plato and Matt Neal, who are together on the third row. There's somebody with a...
That looks like James Kay. It is James Kay. He's trying to signal that he's got a problem. Either that or he opened it to get some air, and it actually, the wind caught it, but they've got no option but to delay the start. Two things. He either knew he had a problem and wanted to attract attention, or, as I say, the wind just caught it and flipped it open, and the driver cannot reach that door from his position, but no option but to delay the start. That's Peter Richards, chief scrutineer, just going to inquire if he's got a problem.
Hopefully get it sorted out.
No.
Closed.
It looks like it was just the door, otherwise they'll push him off the grid.
So we've gone back to 1 minute down to count down. And they will get a further green flag lap, and they will lose a lap off the race distance. So we'll get an extra green flag lap. There you go. And it was, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there was no other problem.
No.
He just opened the door.
No. The wind caught it. He couldn't reach it without undoing his seatbelts, which he obviously can't do. So, yeah, one of those little things.
Well, it's got the race distance down by 1. I suppose it's going to be a 14-lap race. Although, remember, if the safety car comes out onto the circuit, then up to 3 laps can be added to the race distance. So we don't actually know for sure until we actually get into the race itself. So everybody heading around on this second green flag lap. And they're on board with Colin Turkington. We'll have a quick word with him. This is Ben calling Colin. Colin, you've got a second green flag lap to try and build up to. Is that a bit of a distraction? Oh, well, we don't seem to be getting the sound off quite as neatly as we did last time. That's a shame, but never mind. We were talking to Colin earlier on today on the warm-up lap, but the sound not coming across this time. Nonetheless, everybody just still weaving the cars around despite the fact that it's boiling hot here. And
yeah, I think it's just out of habit. There's no real need to do it there. The tyres will be plenty warm enough here with the track temperature hovering around 40 degrees, I think, and they'll have no problem now. There's James Kay going round. Don't open the door this time for a bit of air, James, when you get back to the grid. Yeah, 20-car field looking strong.
Now, you were racing just a little while ago, Tim, out in the Porsches in this heat. Just how much of a distraction is it? I mean, presumably once you're in the race, you don't really notice it. It's more at the end, is it?
Yeah, the adrenaline keeps you going, and when you're as fit as I am, it's no problem to do 15 laps. But it's only when you stop at the end that you get the sudden heat soak sitting in your overalls, and yes, it's very hot then. But these guys will have no problem at all. There'll be plenty for them to think about once the lights go out.
Definitely, we're going in for some frantic action. This section of the circuit saw some brilliant racing earlier on between Matt Neal and Rob Collard. Both cars did just about manage to survive it, but hopefully we'll get them all through this time as well, and through the first lap safely. Gavin Smith, pole man, leading them round. On-board view here with Fabrizio Giovanardi. He starts at the back of the grid. He's got Rob Collard just ahead of him now as this section of the track where the two of them had it coming together in race number 2. Let's hope they can keep it clean. A little bit of damage was done to both cars. They bent suspension beam on the Vauxhall Astra, and it bent part of the steering on Rob Collard's car. So it wasn't major damage done to either, but it was enough, of course, to put them both out of the race. Yeah,
we've seen a lot of action just here on the braking for Sonny Inn, because the cars are all unbalanced. The weight is all thrown to the outside. You're braking round a bend. It's very, very difficult. It's a very difficult place just to stop the car on your own, let alone to try and slide up the inside and pass. And as I've said before, the driver in front, he's concentrating on the road ahead of him, and it's all he can do to stop the car. He's not really looking for someone coming down the inside.
There is James Kay. He hasn't got his door open. That hopefully will be getting them into place now. Gavin Smith just leading them round very sensibly, quite slowly at this section, because they get spread out on the first part of the lap. He wants them all bunched up as closely as possible. As we mentioned earlier, engine temperatures in these high heat conditions are a problem. You don't want to be sitting on the grid for ages with your engine gently cooking away. So keep them all bunched up, and then when you get onto the grid and stop, hopefully you're not waiting too long before you're set off at the start of the race. And it was interesting, Matt Neal telling us that when he was shadowing Jason Plato in that second race, he was moving out of the slipstream just to try and get some air to cool the engine. The engine temperatures were setting off all the alarms inside, and that's a major concern for all of the drivers out there. They've got to look after their engine temperatures. They can't afford to just sit on the rear bumper of another car throughout the entire, now 14-lap distance. Last couple of cars then, Fabrizio Giovanardi and Rob Collard moving into place. All set the starter's signal here, the starter getting ready to get the red lights on.
Between 3 and 5 seconds on that stopwatch after he turns the red light on is when it goes off.
Here we go then, Gavin Smith on our left as we look at it there. James Thompson on the front row, engine revs build, waiting for those lights. Lights are on. It's a hold, and away we go, and it's a great start from Thompson, I think. Although Gavin Smith, although he might not have got the initial move, somebody stalled. I think that's Owen Murray, maybe. Yeah, it is Owen Murray, the Irishman who started very well in touring cars here this weekend, and it's Smith who leads. Thompson in second place. Turkington in third position, and then Gordon Shedden in fourth, and already James Thompson in the Seat, the silver and yellow car, is attacking for the lead there, side by side. You can't go through there, side by side. Smith goes the wrong side of the tyres, and he's still in front.
Yeah, but he had no choice, did he? You cannot get two cars through there. That was the right thing to do. I hope he doesn't get penalised for missing the chicane, because he certainly had no choice but to do that.
Side by side through the right-hander at Tower Corner now. Thompson trying to get past on the outside. No space there. On board Turkington. Third place we're riding with. And Thompson trying everything here to take the lead in the early stages and open up an advantage in the Seat. But Gavin Smith is having none of it. He's keeping the door firmly closed. The Vauxhall leads. The Seat in second. The Team RAC MG in third place. Oh, and they're all just touching, locking the brakes slightly. That's the area we always see, that little bit of a lock-up on the brakes. Bouncing over the curb out of Sunny Out, past the grass banks with thousands of people enjoying the view here today. It's still Smith from James Thompson, and then in third place is Colin Turkington, and Smith is having to defend.
He's defending very hard. Thompson trying to go around the outside. Smith's going to defend very, very tight. Thompson's gone wide to get a cutback. He may find himself under pressure from third place. He's got a good cutback.
Not wide enough though. Smith controls the race as they come across the line at the end of the first lap. It's Gavin Smith from James Thompson, Colin Turkington in third. Here comes Thompson trying the outside. That's a very brave attempt if you're going to go around the outside. Not really on there. He wasn't nearly alongside enough to do that. He's just trying to keep the pressure on Smith. Smith has never won a round of the British touring cars, and he's going to try again in the same place as he did last time, and he's done it.
Oh, that was great driving. He knew he had an advantage there on acceleration round that right-hander, and he kept his foot in. This time Smith elected not to back out of it and go straight on through the chicane. I think if he had, he would have got penalised, but that's opened the door now. Thompson's away.
Thompson is away, and it depends how quickly these guys can get past. Let's take another look at this, Tim.
Watch this. Smith covers the inside a little bit, gets a bit of a slide on, which sends him out wide, and immediately Thompson's straight in there.
Great move from Thompson, but a little mistake, as you say there, from Gavin Smith, which is what opened the door. Thompson, that little brake locking that we've become familiar with. Second, third and fourth tied together. It's Gavin Smith, the Irishman. Colin Turkington, the Northern Irishman, right behind him. And then they've got the Scot, Gordon Shedden, running in fourth place. Jason Plato currently running fifth, ahead of Matt Neal. But this is where all the action is. The race for second position. Oh, forced out wide through the complex, coming up to the hairpin. What's he going to do at the hairpin? Smith covers the inside. Of course, Turkington's having to think about Gordon Shedden as well, who's trying to get past.
Yeah, Smith's car looking like a real handful in the very tight corners there, just not wanting to stop and change direction, almost catching Turkington out to the extent that he ran into the back of him then.
So Thompson beginning to ease out. This is exactly what he wanted, get in front early. Then it's Smith, Turkington, still racing for second, third, followed by Shedden, Plato. Matt Neal, championship leader, is in sixth place. Tom Chilton in another Vauxhall is in seventh. And then behind them is Dave Pinkney. There you can see the black and pink car of Pinkney. He's eighth. Giovanardi is ninth. Look at him, and he's going to be eighth any moment.
Wow, did you see the speed he carried through the chicane there? And he just timed it perfectly. Nearly caught the back of Pinkney's bumper, but just timed it perfectly. Will Pinkney hold him on the inside? He will. Giovanardi's going to cut back, but he's going to be on the outside for the left-hand part of Jim Clark S's. We've seen cars going through here side by side. Pinkney's on the left side. No, he's ducked in behind him.
Giovanardi's taken the place. The Italian has come from the back of the grid. This is remarkable. We're only on the third lap, and Giovanardi has come from the back in a 20-car field. He's already in 8th position. The Italian showing some real pace, the sort of abilities that we always knew he had, but perhaps hasn't had the opportunity to display so far this season. Second place still at the moment is Gavin Smith in the Vauxhall. Right behind him is Turkington, and here comes Turkington. A little think about it, wasn't close enough.
No, but he has to do that to cover himself from Shedden behind him, but he's either going to get past Smith or Shedden's going to get him. But great driving by Giovanardi, as you've said, to do that first lap. And if you look back in the distance, he's not that far behind. He's the last of the 3 Vauxhalls you can see in the picture there. Absolutely fantastic first lap, but the guy hasn't won 7 touring car championships for nothing.
No, he made a great start. Apparently he was electric off the line. He gained quite a few of those places right off the grid. So Giovanardi, the second there, the 2 Vauxhalls with the red stripe across his windscreen, currently running in 8th, Pinkney 9th, James Kay is currently 10th, Mike Jordan is 11th, Jason Hughes is in 12th, Mark Proctor next, but this is still for second place. Colin Turkington desperately wants to get past the Vauxhall of Gavin Smith so he can chase after race leader James Thompson, but he can't find a way through. And Gavin Smith's doing everything correctly. He's not doing anything wrong here. It's just up to the others to find a gap, and so far they can't do it. Good and tight there through Croft into Sunny in. Oh, it's tight. Surely a touch. There is a touch, but Turkington's lost. He's been hit by Shedden, and Shedden takes advantage. That was always going to be the problem.
It was all absolutely right. Whatever he did, he was under pressure, and now he's got Plato behind as well. But Smith's driving a canny race. He's defending everywhere, particularly here in these tight corners, and that's queuing everybody up behind him.
So James Thompson is being allowed to get away with this at the moment as the race for second slows everybody else down. Gavin Smith holds them off, but now it's Shedden who is his nearest rival in the Team Halfords car. Turkington has dropped back a position. He's now fourth. Plato not far behind them. This is the view from on board Jason Plato's car when that happened a moment ago. Turkington and Shedden had a bit of a side swipe on each other.
Yeah, that was because Turkington just got into the back of Smith going into Sunny. Shedden went across the grass to make room for himself, and it worked out between the two corners.
Well, you've got to race hard in this series, and that shows how important that is. We're going to have another look at the start of the race from onboard Fabrizio Giovanardi. This was how good the start was.
Wow, straight through the first two rows. Someone stalled in front of him. Now, is he going to go down the inside or on the outside? There's Roux on the inside. Leggett staying out wide, as is Martin Bell. Down the inside he goes. He's passed 4 cars already. Holds it inside. Little tap for Martin Bell, let him know he's there so he can hold the inside. He's driving like a Croft veteran here. It's a fantastic start. And he's still got a few more to get, I think.
Yeah, Fabrizio Giovanardi, certainly the star of the opening lap or two. He's now in 8th place. Bit more difficult to make the progress, but he has caught up to his teammate, interestingly, Tom Chilton. The two Vauxhalls in the back of this group are now running very much together, and it's this group, of course, being led by the other Vauxhall of Gavin Smith, who is still holding second position, just about. Look behind them. Turkington, Plato is in there, and the silver and yellow car.
Yeah, Chilton's moved out of the way. Look at this lot. They're not even on the track behind Adam Jones and everything. They're not even on the track. But yeah, Chilton definitely moved over to let Giovanardi through. Giovanardi going so much quicker, the team would have told him on the radio, move out the way.
So Giovanardi up to 7th, Chilton 8th, Pinckney through in 9th, Mike Jordan comes through in 10th place, and then it's James Kay, Jason Hughes, Mark Proctor, Rob Collard. He's still down in 14th, so he started at the back, remember, with Giovanardi. Hasn't been able to make the same sort of progress. He didn't make that electric start, of course, that Giovanardi made. And Giovanardi now, as we know, in 7th. But look at our race leader. Look at the gap he's opened up. 3.5 seconds. And he looks very relaxed, very composed. Quick glance down at the instruments, up through the gears. Now the fast stuff here, Tim.
Yeah, committed through there, but these touring cars fairly easily flat out through there, and the suspension and the dampers almost hardly upset at all by those little curbs. They feel like nothing in these cars. Whoa, look at that, that's sideways. Gavin Smith lost it on the brakes going into Sunny. Lucky not to hit the outside barriers there. He didn't get any assistance there, I don't think. That was just as he initially went on the brakes. The car started to slide.
Oh, that was a fast, scary moment. Look at this.
Yeah, it started to slide before, in fact, Shedden got anywhere near it. There was no contact, I don't think. That was literally just that fine balancing act of braking on the bend, and it just got away from him.
Well, that must have given him as hard a flutter, I should think, as he lost control at that speed. It means that Shedden is now 2nd, Turkington 3rd, but under attack from Plato. Plato also being hounded here by Matt Neal. So these two who had such a strong race earlier on, Matt Neal now trying to get past Jason Plato. I might have a think down the inside. Behind them with the lights on is Giovanardi, the Italian, but we're on board here with Matt Neal, tucked in behind Plato. He was tucked in behind him for most of race 2 when they were battling for the lead. But for the moment, it's a battle for 4th position.
It is, but these are the two heaviest cars on the grid, Matt Neal and Plato. So they're going to have their work cut out. May not be the same as the last time.
Heading down towards Tower Corner then, and Plato just keeping Matt Neal behind him. But Giovanardi has caught this group. Great effort this from Fabrizio Giovanardi just through the shot. But you're on board with him now, and he has now virtually caught the back of Matt Neal and Jason Plato. So there he is in what is 6th position. Tom Chilton behind him, remember, and then behind him is Gavin Smith. Gavin Smith, after that slide, has dropped back, and Jordan has gained a position. Mike Jordan now up to 9th place, has got past David Pinckney.
Yeah, it's a fabulous drive by Giovanardi. He's absolutely on the ragged edge, but be interesting to see what happens now that Smith isn't at the front of this group in front to maybe hold them up. We'll have to see how their lap times go in relation to his, but to actually get up to you know, virtually on the back of Neil and Plato is brilliant.
Yeah, very, very good. Giovanardi through. There's Chilton, that's Tom Chilton, his teammate, of course, who knows this Croft circuit pretty well, has gone well in the past, got some good results. We're looking back from Jason Plato, running fourth and looking at Matt Neal, series leader. Now, in terms of championship points, Neal won't be too worried seeing who's ahead of him because they're not far ahead of him. His nearest rivals are Jason Plato and then one ahead of him, Colin Turkington, and they're only 1 or 2 places ahead, so he's not going to lose too much of his very useful points advantage. But in his mirror, he does have to be a bit wary because Giovanardi is bearing down on him, and he is looking the most racy out there in race number 3. 6th position currently for Giovanardi, and those lights ablaze indicate that he means business. He's had enough of not getting decent results in the British Series so far. Yeah, he's not had a good run of luck, and he's not necessarily had the same sort of car that underneath him that the Seat drivers and Integral drivers, but it hasn't stopped him trying as hard as he can. And this is not an easy circuit to learn. It's a bit like Mondello. He'd never seen the circuit before, but adapted to it immediately. Now, there's a bit of a glassy moment there for Matt Neal. Just ran a touch wide, didn't he? Don't think he lost too much time as a result, although it has allowed Giovanardi to close up that fraction more. And look at that, the Vauxhall almost pushing Matt Neal. He's really looking aggressive. He hits Neal. Giovanardi definitely touching him through the left-hander. Yeah, well, Giovanardi comes from the school of hard knocks, in other words, the World and European Touring Car Championship, so he is not afraid to rub wheels with anyone. Look at that, across the inside curve. There's no way he can get past, but he's just being so racy, as you said, not frightened at all, and this will be worrying Matt Neal, who does not want this kind of attention. No, that's right. He doesn't need someone taking him off when he's got such a strong position in the championship. He's trying to go around the outside of the first corner. You can't do that. Surely you can't do that. Giovanardi still side by side with Matt Neal. Matt Neal muscles him out, stands his ground, holds on to the place. Well, Matt Neal gave him room there. Matt Neal could have lent on him in Clervaux and put him in the gravel, and then it meant that they were going through the chicane side by side, and it meant that Neal's right front wing got torn off on the tyres. There it goes. Well, at least it means they won't be black flagging him. The wing's gone, but these two giving each other no room whatsoever. That was amazing through there. I didn't think they would come out of that corner with the two cars still in one piece. And Matt Neal's been involved in some of the toughest ices here at Croft this weekend. It was with Rob Collard earlier on today. Now it's with Fabrizio Giovanardi. But it's so tight into this first corner. Well, normally the car on the outside here gets biffed out into the gravel, but there, side by side through that chicane, Matt Neal not giving any room at all and losing his front wing as a result on the tyres. But it could have been a lot worse. He could have actually had a really bad set of damage there on the right front, but he got through it. Well, quality driving, in fact, from both of them there. Giovanardi's dropped back a touch from Matt Neal. He's got Tom Chilton right behind him once again. Behind these guys, Gavin Smith, who of course was up front early on and then had that very big high-speed slide, is still in 8th place. Mike Jordan in 9th. James Kay is 10th. David Pinkney has dropped back a little bit. He's now down in 11th place with Rob Collard tucked in behind him. So Collard is making a bit more progress now as we go through this race. We're on to lap number 10 out of 14. Remember, race distance has been shortened because they had that extra green flag lap earlier on. None of this is troubling James Thompson, of course, because he has an easy race lead of 3.7 seconds. And Seat still looking at 2 wins out of the 3 races here today, really getting their championship campaign back on track, particularly in the Manufacturers' Championship and in the Teams' Championship as well. There's Thompson, the gap back to Shedden in 2nd place. Turkington then in 3rd, Plato a bit further back in 4th. Then it's Matt Neal, and he has pulled away, there's no doubt about it, from Giovanardi and Chilton. There's Gavin Smith with Mike Jordan chasing him. Then there's a bit more of a gap, and there's James Kay just coming through. Yeah, at the moment, James Thompson looks like he could be on for the win because Plato's back in 4th place, and unless Plato gets through to 2nd, there won't be any team orders. So he's looking good for a win on home soil, and Matt Neal put his head down after that lap of pressure from Giovanardi and got away from him, has made the break, and looks like maybe the Vauxhalls have hit that sort of barrier in terms of performance after sort of 10 laps, and maybe no further threat now to Matt Neal. That's right, it looks as though the tyre temperatures have climbed and that the cars perhaps now sliding around a bit more. Everybody's finding that. Pinkney's had a problem. I think he's had a moment or a spin, and he's slowed right down now. A few cars got together, and it looks as though he may well be coming into the pits as a result of that. Jason Plato, 4th place, Neil, then Giovanardi. Chilton still chasing on in the other Vauxhall. And, well, for Thompson, it's no big problem. Of course, he had a lead like this in the first race of the day, as you say, then had to back off to let Plato through, but Plato's not in a position to do that yet. He's got to find a way past both Turkington and Shedden. Here's Gavin Smith versus Mike Jordan. Yeah, Gavin Smith, unfortunately, has gone further and further backwards in this race, but he's still fighting, but these guys, just going to say, these guys had a bit of a coming together in the first race of the day, so I don't think there's much love lost between them. No, I don't think so, to be honest, but Jordan won't want to damage his car recklessly for the sake of 8th place. That's right. Well, this was where Smith, braking a little bit earlier now, I think, there. That was the area of circuit where he had that huge slide. Did well to actually get it all under control and rejoin the track once again. But still, he's got to watch his mirrors as Mike Jordan gets a little bit closer in behind the Vauxhall. These two, really the two closest cars on track at the moment. Smith has got the inside line, and Jordan might try and go alongside, but he's not really going to be able to do it there. Up towards the hairpin, he's hoping that Smith will compromise his exit speed. But again, it's not quite enough. Smith holds on to the position. He's in 8th place. 11 laps have been completed. We're on to lap number 12. 3 laps to go. And James Thompson looking good for victory. Matt Neal is closing rapidly back onto the back of Plato. There you see the gap. And on the last lap, Matt Neal was some half a second quicker than Plato in front of him. So don't think that that final, well, that 4th place is settled yet. No, we know that Matt Neal's... Oh, who's that? Gone very wide. One of the front runners, was that Shedden? I think that was Shedden. Yeah. That is Shedden. Gordon Shedden. Maybe that's a puncture because he just rolled off the track there. May have a puncture on the left front. Well, disaster for... Yeah, the car looks a little bit low on the front splitter on the left front, so I think he's either got a suspension problem or a puncture on that left front. The left front does take all the damage around here, obviously. Yeah, works very, very hard indeed. It means that Turkington will now be up to 2nd place, Plato 3rd, and Matt Neal up into 4th position. So Matt Neal again gaining some places by just staying in there and could be still in within a shout of getting on the podium, I guess. Thompson with this very, very comfortable advantage. There's Turkington now into 2nd place, Plato in 3rd, and as you say, Matt Neal is right behind him, so Plato cannot afford to relax here, and we know that in the closing stages of race 2, Matt Neal was able to get past the Seat. Both cars running pretty heavy, but Matt Neal with a slightly more ballast on his car. Yes, in the race before, as I said before, he had less ballast, so he was perhaps a little bit more performance to strike at the end, but he seems to be fired up for that final podium now. Yeah, he does. Well, they're running out of time. There's only about a lap and a half in which to do this now. When they come around next time, they will be going on to their final lap. And Matt Neal just closing up a bit down the main straight there. Good speed from that Honda engine, and a good slippery aerodynamic shape of the Integra helps him close up a little bit. But Plato just lost a bit of pace in the middle of the corner. Don't think it's enough for Matt Neal to do anything with it. But again, it just looks like Plato is struggling a touch in the closing stages of the race, whereas Matt Neal has a car under him that is working very, very effectively. Shedden in the pits with a puncture, as we thought. Well spotted. Well, a great pity for Shedden. He's been scoring consistently this year, winner of 2 races already, and could have really boosted his championship hopes, finishing well up in the series if he'd stayed where he was, but that's the way it goes. Turkington has inherited 2nd, there is Plato 3rd, and Matt Neal chasing him every inch of the way. But when they come past the start-finish line in just a few moments' time, they will be going on to their final lap, and it's looking very good for James Thompson. And I noticed that Plato's taking a slightly more defensive line into the hairpin than he did earlier. Yeah, I mean, he was in the middle of the road there, but if Matt decides he's really going to go for it, he can virtually go up the inside of the track and have a go. They're side by side here, but Matt won't try and go around the outside Giovanardi style because he knows what Plato will do, so he backs out of it and tucks in behind. Yes, he has a little wisdom as well as a good racing brain. He's not going to put himself at that much risk, and now we are on the final lap. Thompson with his 4.5 second advantage. The Seat is back on the sort of form it was in the first race of the day. The changes they made for race 2 didn't seem to help, James. They've gone back to what they had earlier. It's worked very, very well.
It has. He's done a perfect race, but we need to go back to the battle for third place, because I know that that Plato's having to defend very hard into Tower and all the way around the rest of this lap, I think.
Yeah, it's not all over yet, that's for sure. Thompson, do we see that little bit of brake locking up coming into Tower? No, he's a bit smoother this time. He hasn't got to push it hard. He got the fastest lap on lap number 3, so he's going to take the full bonuses in this race. Winning the race, leading the race, you get an extra point for, and fastest lap, and he's going to take all of the points.
Look at that in the background. Neil's all over Plato. We're coming up to the last tight complex and the hairpin.
Well, is he going to make a lunge for it? Is Matt Neal going to make a move here? Into the final corner is race leader James Thompson. Second place is going to go to Colin Turkington. Who's going to finish third? Is it going to be Jason Plato? It looks as though it will be. Thompson definitely takes the victory for Seat. In the background, they're still side by side for third. It's Turkington who's going to take second place. Who's it going to be in third? Plato or Matt Neal? Side by side across the line. And we're waiting for the screens to update.
It's Neil.
Matt Neal has been given it on our timing screens by 0.08 of a second. Matt Neal takes third on the line from Jason Plato. Well, what a fight that was, and just out of the last corner, Matt Neal seemed to get a great run going.
Yeah, I think he probably gave a tiny little tap to Plato in mid-corner. Here we go, here's a replay. Looks like Plato's got it covered. Matt ducks in tight underneath. No, he just gets across the inside of the track, short circuits the circuit, and gets the drive out of the corner. Brilliant. Look at him looking out of the side window to see where they each are. Look at them.
Trying to work out who was ahead. I don't think that they would have worked it out probably until they get official confirmation from timing and scoring, but certainly it looks as though Matt Neal has taken third place. James Thompson, the race winner here, and that's fully deserved, because of course James was the one leading race 1 today, and he backed off to let his teammate come through and take the victory. So an utterly deserved win there for James Thompson, the Yorkshireman on home soil, doing a brilliant job. And he just, yes, he got a little tap there from whoever was passing him on that lap, a little friendly tap I think it was, as he was passed. But at least Thompson has a victory to celebrate here today. Of course, it backs up the victories that he had at Brands Hatch at the start of the season. He won both of the opening races in the championship, but do remember, he's not doing the whole series. He is contesting the entire World Touring Car Championship. So James is a little bit in and out of the British Series, effectively sharing the drive with Darren Turner, who was in the car last time out when we were at Thruxton. But Thompson's done the job that Seat asks him to, and it's been an important weekend in terms of Seat's results. It's a win for Seat in this one, ahead of Colin Turkington, who just will, with that, stays in second place in the championship. Matt Neal finishes third, just from Jason Plato. Giovanardi, one of the drives of the race, up from the back to finish fifth. Tom Chilton finished sixth. Mike Jordan, a good seventh after a few problems this weekend. Gavin Smith, eighth, so they did swap around those two towards the end there. James Cave finished in ninth place, and Rob Collard also came from the very back of the grid, and he finished in 10th place. So cars now making their way down into pit lane. A few people deciding that they've had enough of the sunshine here today and starting to make their way home as well. But for James Thompson, an absolutely perfectly driven race. He's done it twice today, and this time he's able to keep the win, and it's thumbs up from him. Scrutineering, the car being weighed up at the top end of the pits, gets the okay, and then he can head down towards the end of the pit lane, where we'll be able to catch up with him, I should think. Now, look at the standings in the championship. Matt Neal with a very healthy lead, some 38 points over Colin Turkington, who has maintained his second place. Jason Plato in third. James Thompson, despite not doing all of the rounds of the championship, still well up there. Gordon Shedden in fifth place, and then Tom Chilton, Rob Collard. Fabrizio Giovanardi's moved up to ninth place, but VX Racing is still not having the sort of year that we've so used to seeing them have. They've been so dominant and always up there in the last few years. It just hasn't quite come together for them for this year. No doubt things will change as we go through the rest of the championship. And Giovanardi's performance in that third race shows that they've got pace, and if things go their way, then they really will be in good shape. Matt Neal, though, very much the man in control of the championship.